Victory Tuesday. That is right. The Eagles advanced to 3-0 after a huge win against the Bucs. Should we be happy though? Should we not? How long can they keep this up? Who is the star player of the game? And how about a few bold takes to wrap it up? We'll break all of it down and more. What is up, everybody? RB here. Welcome into A to Z Philly. You know the drill. Hit the like button if you enjoy the show. Comment down below. Subscribe. Ring the bell. Don't miss any of the coverage. We continue to pump out the content, and the Eagles continue to pump out wins as they down the Bucs 25-11 in Tampa last night. The rain started in the second half, but the storm came through as the Philadelphia Eagles dominate again. Should we be satisfied? How was this game for you on a scale from 1 to 10? In terms of satisfaction level, how happy are you as an Eagles fan after that game? Drop your comment down below before we jump into the madness. A shout out to our sponsor of today's video, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using the code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, daily boosted odds specials, and more. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Hey, I told you guys last night, A.J. Brown over 68.5. He did it. We'll get to that. Find out, though, why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today. Use the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Hey, man, what a win last night. I know a lot of people are still even keel. They're still like, the Eagles didn't have their best game and they didn't put it all together. But I will tell you, they made a lot of improvements in a lot of the little subtle areas, and they probably put together, more of a compact game, at least in all facets, offense, defense, and special teams, compared to what they did in the first 2 weeks, in my personal opinion. But we got this here last night a little bit from Schefter, and more on it after the game. Jason Kelce commented as well. This was a flu-like game. Jalen Hurts had flu-like symptoms. Jason Kelce had symptoms. A.J. Brown had a stomach issue. The whole team was dealing with stuff. Can we get some Jalen flu game comments going in the chat? Jalen flu game. This was Jalen's flu game, and he still came out, and I thought he still played with some pretty good points. How about this? This is even better. How about this? A Tampa Bay local broadcast, and there was probably about 60 to 70% Eagle fans in Raymond James Stadium. And they're all just surrounding this guy. If you go watch this clip, he literally can't even get a news broadcast off. He's asking people about Baker Mayfield. He's got all Eagle fans surrounded about him. That is the best fan base in the world right there. Reuben Frank with some summed up thoughts, and I feel like these kind of sum the game pretty well, but we'll get into specific players. But a couple points I agree with here. Jalen's pocket awareness was much better. That is one of my main takeaways from this game. You look at Jalen Hurts. People still think he didn't play the best. He had 2 interceptions and, still had a couple questionable decisions, but I thought he saw the field better. I thought he went through his progressions better. And even early on in this game, he was collapsing. He was running out, scrambling, having to throw the ball away. He still didn't look like himself, but he had a few plays that kind of resembled that MVP like Jalen from last year, especially that throw to Olamide Zaccheaus. How about the hometown kid getting his first touchdown as an Eagle? And what a dime. I went back and watched it this morning. You almost have like Zaccheaus on a post route, and he kind of extends the play, and the defender was like this close from picking it off. But what a throw to sail it right in there for 34 yards, Jalen to Olamide Zaccheaus. But yeah, Jalen was not as uncomfortable. He looked a lot better in the pocket, and he just looked composed and like he's getting his feel back. And again, he didn't really feel that well. So shout out to Jalen Hurts in this game. And he now actually has the most rushing touchdowns in a quarterback's first career 50 games. Passing Cam Newton, he had 29 touchdowns after last night in 48 games. He had the tush push. People are crying about it. I don't care. If you don't like it, stop it. If you don't like it, stop it. And I'm not talking about stopping crying. I'm talking about stop the damn play. The Eagles' offensive line is just too damn dominant, and that kind of speaks about this game. They're too superior. Howie Roseman continues to build in the trenches. He builds depth. I was watching the press conference last night. Nick Sirianni talked about it. He said, I got to continue to give Howie credit for building depth in the O-line, the D-line. They're all monsters. They can't be stopped. And speaking of which, the first guy we talk about is Jalen Carter. Let's get this out of the way because he's becoming a regular occurrence every single Monday or Tuesday or whatever after the game. Weird schedule, by the way, but every week he's just becoming the guy. Jalen Carter had another dominant, superior game. This guy's played 3 NFL games, 1.5 sacks, 5 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 quarterback hits, 2 forced fumbles, 15 pressures, 6 when double teamed, all playing less than 50% of the snaps. And how about this? He was once again graded the highest defensive lineman in week 3 per Pro Football Focus. And he was the 2nd highest graded defensive player in general. He's the 4th highest graded D tackle through 3 weeks. This guy's an absolute stud. This guy's an absolute menace. He is going to be a star. Let's hope and pray he stays healthy. But my gosh, can you imagine what this guy is going to be in like 5 years? Give him whatever he wants, man. This is crazy. He is absolutely insane. The way he punched that ball out last night, they asked him about that. He said, yeah, it's just my instinct. It's what I've learned growing up, playing the game. And it's not really taught. It's just like that natural instinct. And I know there's a lot of other talent around him. And the Eagles' defensive line is almost unfair. So it's hard for anybody to stop him in general. But when you have Reddick and Sweat and these other guys, and even Jordan Davis, who looks much improved, coming at you, there's just nothing you can do, man. Shout out to Jalen Carter yet again. And shout out to DeAndre Swift. Last week, they told me, RB, relax. It's just one game. You got to see how he plays, how they can split carries. Well, they split carries last night. And shout out to Brian Johnson. I thought he was much improved. Still needs to work on his red zone playbook. But how about DeAndre Swift? 16 carries. I think that's probably a good amount, around 15. Kenny Gainwell had 14. But Swift, 130 yards again. He goes over 100 for the 2nd straight week. And he's just an absolute stud. This is what happens when you embrace opportunity. And I know it's a good story. He's coming home to Philadelphia. He went to St. Joe's Prep. Him and Zacchaeus went together. And he comes home and he's now given more opportunity. He's never had this type of opportunity, this type of role in his career. And that is what really inspires the heck out of me, man. You make the most at the time when it's given to you, and he's just very humble. I'm listening to him talk. He's like, yeah, I can do this. I was just waiting for my time, man. After barely even seeing the field in week 1, here I am, 100+ yards back-to-back weeks, 8.1 yards per carry, back-to-back 100-yard games. And DeAndre Swift per Reuben Frank, now the first Eagle with 300 rushing yards in a 2-game span since LaShawn McCoy. Speaking of which, Shady's been high on this guy. He's tweeting about him all day last night, all game. He says, yeah, I think I found somebody to carry on number 25 in Philly. DeAndre Swift building his name. And no, by the way, let me remind you something real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Good front office work. Good GM work. Howie Roseman, ever since 2020, he's a wizard. He's a wizard, right? Remember when he traded for Jay Ajayi? Remember when he traded for Ajayi years ago during a Super Bowl run? What did he give up at that point? Like a 4th, 5th round pick, whatever it was. He traded a 4th round pick on draft night, not even during the season, on draft night for DeAndre Swift. I think he's making $1.7 million guaranteed this year. Insane value for DeAndre Swift. And I believe in him fully. He can continue to do this. That is how they need to replicate that game plan last night. Split the carries. Gainwell's number 2. Swift is your primary back. That is exactly how they need to do it. Great job on behalf of Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni. A.J. Brown had another big game, and he finally had that statement game. He's been playing well. But now we had the volume of touches last night. And I told you to take him on the over because A.J. Brown was going to come out and he wasn't feeling well. But after those media comments, after the way they kept trying to portray him, he said, nah, I got you. And one of the most important things, he had 131 yards on 9 catches, but I think he had about 70 to 80 yards of yak. And you give it to him in space. That's something the Eagles weren't doing early on in the first couple games. Give it to Devontae. Give it to Dallas. Give it to A.J. in space. Give it to Swift out of the backfield. Let them run, right? It doesn't always have to be, a 35-yard route down the field. Like, no, let Jalen Hurts get into a rhythm, and AJ is just too strong. You see that play on the last drive? What was it, 3rd and 13? AJ catches it, little quick spin. They were scared. They didn't know what to do. Let AJ run with the ball. He is way too powerful. And how about the Eagles, by the way, ending this game? And that was really one of my main takeaways, too, is like, they finally ended a game. They didn't let the other team squeak back. They got a touchdown late, the Bucs. It was still 2 scores, but they didn't let them have one more possession. The Eagles ran off 9.5 minutes to end this game, and that is very, very impressive. That is how you need to finish business and close off teams. And really, man, it was just in part of nice poise and rhythm by Jalen Hurts and this whole offense. Couple big third down plays. That's how you have to finish them off, man. Don't give them a chance. And that was a big improvement this week. A.J. Brown and DeAndre Swift are my players of the game for sure. And I mean, the whole defensive line and Jalen Hurts, I still think he played pretty well. People think that, you know, he's not looking the same, etc. I think he made a lot of improvement last night, and he started to really settle in with this new offense and this scheme. Big credit to Sean Desai. He had Baker Mayfield looking like a deer in headlights. I told you Baker Mayfield starts seasons like this, and then once he starts to get hit, you know, turns the ball over. The Eagles made a team that did not turn the ball over, turn it over 3 times, right? They had an interception and they had 2 fumbles. And yeah, I mean, once you do that, once you win the turnover battle, that's how you win football games. And you came into this game talking about the rushing defenses. The Eagles going up against the number 2 rushing defense. They rush for 200 yards. Meanwhile, the Bucs come in against the number 1 rushing defense and they rush for 41 yards on 17 carries, less than 3 yards per carry. That's how the game was won right there. Good, gritty, in the mud football. Eagles get it done. They're on to the Washington Commanders. Got to keep your eye on that game. We remember what happened last year. But the Eagles right now look like they can start off 6-0. And I hope that they do. They're playing well. They're starting to improve in all facets. The special teams was great last night. Britton Covey, a couple big returns. They're putting it together. They got to stay healthy. We'll see what they can do next week. Give me all your thoughts down below in the comment section. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.